So guys, are we done with all the concepts of time value of money? कुछ बचे सो इसमें? Did we do net present value? Did we do compounded annual growth rate, nominal rate, real return? Let us quickly revise time value of money once better, and then we'll proceed with the next chapter. So starting off with, guys, the very first thing that I told you in this chapter is that interest is a compensation for what, guys? Decrease in the purchasing power of money. Will the purchasing power of money remain constant? No. Normally, better there is inflation prevailing in any country. On an account of inflation as such, better the quantity of goods that you can buy with a given amount of money will keep decreasing year after year. That is why whenever you park your money as such, better in any bank account or anywhere else, even if you hand over your money to someone else, they will be expecting interest. So interest is a compensation for decrease in the purchasing power of money. I told you better that the interest rates prevailing in an economy prima facie depend on what? The short-term rates, inflation rates that are prevailing in the economy. Higher the inflation rate, higher will be the interest rates that are set by RBI. Higher the interest rates that are set by RBI for short-term, higher will be your long-term interest rates. So this is how the entire cycle works. Now, there are two ways of computing interest, guys. The first one is simple interest. I expect you to write all of this in your notebooks along with me. The first way, guys, is simple interest. Under simple interest, guys, interest is always computed on the original principal amount. Alright. That means even if you lend your money, guys, for 10 years, interest will still be computed on the principal amount that you have deposited at the beginning of year 1. They will not consider the amount of interest income that you have generated over the years. That is why simple interest beta is computed as principal amount into time period into rate of interest. एक बार सिंपल इंटरेस्ट आता है बेटा, you can compute the amount of accumulated balance. To arrive at accumulated balance, you're supposed to take your principal amount and add the amount of simple interest to that, whatever interest that you have generated. This is how you'll be arriving at accumulated balance under simple interest concept. Compound interest में बेटा, the amount of interest is always computed on the accumulated balance till the end of previous period. So in case you've deposited money, guys, for 10 years, interest for second year will be on the balance at the end of first year. Interest for third year will be on the balance at the end of second year. Interest for fourth year will be on the balance at the end of third year, so on. In case it is deposited for a period of 10 years. Now, under compound interest, you do not directly arrive at the amount of interest. Instead, what you arrive at, beta, is the amount of accumulated balance first. And how do you compute your accumulated balance? Principal amount into 1 plus rate of interest, whole power n. This formula applies when compounding is done on an annual basis. Can compounding be done more than once in a year? Yes. If compounding is done more than once in a year, beta, you will have to effectively change the rate of interest and the total number of periods. So इसीलिए बेटा you divide the rate of interest by m whole power n into m. यहाँ पे m क्या है बेटा? Number of conversion or compounding periods in how many years? 1 year. Please do not take for the entire thing. So if it is compounded on a quarterly basis, guys, m will be equal to 4. If it is done on a quarterly basis, हमेशा half yearly first नहीं देता बेटा, रट्टा मत मारो. Then, guys, if it is compounded on a half yearly basis, m will be 2. If it is compounded on a monthly basis, m will be 12. This is what you're supposed to remember. Now, once we arrive at the amount of accumulated balance, guys, you will have to arrive at the amount of interest. How will you compute the amount of interest? Pick up your accumulated balance, beta. From that, you will deduct the principal portion. Whatever is your accumulated balance, from that you deduct your principal portion, you will arrive at the amount of interest. साथ में copy भी करते जाओ बेटा. So this is how you arrive at your accumulated balances and interest under compound interest system. We've also learned the concept of effective rate of interest. Effective rate of interest के लिए बेटा, this concept arises only if compounding is done more than once in a year. What will the formula for computing your effective rate of interest? 1 plus rate of interest by m whole power m minus 1. Doesn't matter whether you're depositing for 10 years, whether you're depositing for 20 years. If it is effective annual rate, you do it only on the basis of 1 year. They may tell you better that you're depositing at quarterly compounding for 5 years. But for computing effective rate of interest, you still have to consider a period of only 1 year. Are we all clear about this? An example based on this, beta likhna hai ye bhi notes mein. If the amount of principal is 10,000, rate of interest is 12%, term is 3 years. How will you do it under simple interest? How will you do it under compound interest? Simple interest में पहले क्या compute करोगे guys? The amount of interest which will be 10,000 multiplied by 3 years multiplied by 12%. This will become guys 3,600. 36% of 10,000. Once you arrive at the amount of interest, you will write accumulated balance but as 10,000 rupees plus 3,600, which will become 13,600. This is simple interest, where interest is computed, guys, directly on the amount of principal for the entire 3-year period. Are we clear about this? Next, guys. If it is compound interest, beta, you arrive at accumulated balance first. And what will be the formula for that? P into 1 plus R percentage whole power n. क्या लिखोगे बेटा यहाँ पे 10,000 multiplied by 1 plus 0.12 whole power 3. How much will this be, guys? Definitely more than 13,600. कितना बेटा? 14,049. 14,049 beta will be the amount of accumulated balance. If this is the amount of accumulated balance, how will you get the amount of interest? 14,049 minus 10,000. That will give us 4,049. Simple example, guys, on how to compute the total value under simple interest and compound interest. Simple interest, where you directly do it on the amount of principal. Under compound interest, you will do it on the accumulated balance. Abhi beta, next example, same one, guys. Same as above, but compounding on a quarterly basis. If it is compounded quarterly, beta, you're supposed to divide the rate of interest by 4. Whole power, it will be number of years multiplied by 4. Is everyone done till that point, beta? Interest? Kaushik, done? No. So here, guys, how will you write accumulated balance? P into 1 plus R percentage by M whole power n into M. So this beta will become 10,000 rupees into 1 plus 0.12 divided by 4 whole power 3 into 4. Is that clear, kids? Compute करके बोलना बेटा. 10,000 into 1.03 whole power 12. What will be the amount of compound interest? 14,257. 14,257, guys, which means your interest portion beta will be 14,257 minus 10,000. कितना आ जाएगा बेटा? 4,257. This is if compounding is done on a quarterly basis. Same rate of interest beta 12%, and if it is compounded on a quarterly basis, can you compute effective rate of interest? Yes or no? To compute effective rate of interest, you just need the compounding period and the nominal rate of interest. You did not get that 14,257. How much? छोड़ दे बेटा. 680. No बेटा, ऊपर 14,049 था, इतना ज़्यादा difference नहीं आना चाहिए. Maybe you took one extra period. You have to press equal to only 11 times, not 12 times. You pressed equal to 12 times? No idea. Yes, guys. कोई और check किया ना बेटा? Did you get 14,257? All right, kids. Effective rate of interest beta. R is 12%, M is 4. How will I compute effective rate of interest? 1 plus R percentage by M whole power M minus 1. So you will write 1 plus 0.12 divided by 4 whole power 4 minus 1. ये सब बाद में revision के लिए काम में आएगा बेटा. All the concepts with an example at one place. 1.03 whole power 4 minus 1 is what you'll get. पहले मेरे को points में answer बोलना guys, and then I'll convert that. 0.1255. Therefore, it is 12.55% per annum. In our example, guys, this 12% is called as nominal interest rate. ये वो वाला nominal नहीं है बेटा. Nominal interest rate मतलब interest rate given. After you compute effective rate, बेटा, the value will change. So if it is 12% nominal rate and it is compounded on a quarterly basis, effectively it is going to give us 12.55% in a year. How will the questions be on this? Either they will ask us to directly compute effective rate of interest, or they will give us two different options, ask us to select which one is better. Whenever compounding periods are different, you first compute effective rate of interest and then arrive at what is the better option. Are we clear about this? Now, what are the other type of questions, guys, on simple interest and compound interest apart from computing merely accumulated balance and interest? They will give us the difference between simple interest and compound interest, ask us to compute the amount of principal. Yaad hai? So, write that as the next example, guys. Example better. Difference between simple interest and difference between compound interest and simple interest at 6% per annum for 3 years is 220.32. Difference between compound interest and simple interest at 6% per annum for 3 years is 222.32. Find principal. Find the sum. What will you do, guys, in questions like this? Take the principal as P rupees. Compute what is the simple interest in terms of P. Compute what is the compound interest in terms of P. Take the difference, equate it to 220.32. That will give us the answer. Do you remember this? Simple interest कैसे करोगे बेटा? P into T into rate of interest. Your principal is still P. Time period कितना है अपने example में? 3 years. Rate of interest 6%. So will this become 0.18p? 3 years into 6% is 0.18 multiplied by P. That will be 0.18p. How will I arrive at compound interest? Compound interest के लिए बेटा, do you compute directly the amount of interest first or accumulated balance? You will write principal amount into 1 plus 0.06 whole power 3. So that beta will be 1.191016p. To arrive at the amount of interest beta, from this accumulated balance, what are we supposed to deduct? Principal. You will be left with 0.191016p. Once you get this, guys, you'll have to take the difference between the interest portions and equate it to 220.32. 0.191016p minus 0.18p is equal to 220.32. So how much will I get, beta? 0.011016p is equal to 220.32. P is equal to कितना है बेटा? 20,000. Therefore, the principal portion is 20,000. क्या वो आंसर अलग आ रहा है? Did you take all the decimal points, beta? नहीं बेटा, exact 20,000 आएगा. I took 20,000, I computed the difference, and I gave you the example. So the answer cannot be other than 20,000. तो कितना आ रहा है कृष्णा? 19,000? Accurate. Shut up. Yes, guys, the principal portion beta is how much? 20,000 rupees. This is another set of question that commonly comes in the examination. Guys, I'm trying to cover all the cases that normally comes from time value of money. Revise it one day for the examination, that will be sufficient. The next beta is the time period that is required to double an investment. याद है? Under simple interest, guys, what will you be equating? Under compound interest, what will you be equating? Now, suno guys, if time, if a sum of money, beta say doubles, if a sum of money doubles in 6 years, in how many years will accumulated sum be 64 times the principal? Or beta this can also be written as what? Interest will be 63 times. दोनों questions same है. Accumulated balance being 64 times. Are you all done with the above example? Accumulated balance being equal to 64 times the amount of principal is exactly the same as interest being equal to 63 times the amount of principal. Please read the question properly in the examination. Sometimes they give it in terms of interest, sometimes they give it in terms of accumulated balance. Simple interest में कैसे करोगे बेटा? Compound interest में कैसे करोगे? Under simple interest, I am supposed to equate interest income or should I equate principal amount? भूल गए सब कुछ? If principal is 1 rupee, beta, accumulated balance is 2 rupees. So your interest income is how much? This is in a time period of how many years? 6 years. You want your accumulated balance to be how many times the amount of principal? 64 times. That means you want the interest income to be 63. This is what you will have to do on a proportionate basis. What will be the time period, beta? 63 multiplied by 6, 378 years. वही अगर कंपाउंड इंटरेस्ट है बेटा, will I do it in a similar way? What will I write instead? If your principal is 1 rupee, accumulated balance is 2 rupees. That is in a period of how many years? You wait for 6 more years, 2 rupees will become. Why am I computing interest on 2 rupees now and not on 1 rupee? Compound interest hai. Interest is always computed on accumulated balances. So, but this will be in a span of how many years? 12 years. Copy this, beta. Iski battery ho gayi galat time pe. Copy this first, guys. But you understood the concept there. You keep increasing time period by 6 years, you will get that value. Everyone is supposed to write this, guys. This sum of money doubles in 6 years. In how many years? वो years नहीं लिखा बेटा, वहाँ पे तुम लोग ठीक से लिखना. In how many years? The word years is missing. In how many years will the accumulated sum be 64 times the amount of principal? Your interest component should be 63 times the amount of principal. Under simple interest, you directly equate the interest portions. Compound interest में बेटा you keep computing. Done, kids? Compound interest में आंसर कितना है बेटा? You wait for 6 more years, 2 rupees will become 4. You wait for 6 more years, 4 rupees will become 8 rupees. You wait for 6 more years, 8 rupees will become 16 rupees. 16 will become 32 in a span of 30 years. And 32 will become 64 in a span of 36 years. Therefore, the answer beta will be 36. The total number of years required to for the accumulated sum to be equal to 64 times the amount of principal is 64 years. 36 years, sorry beta, 64 was principal. So, ये हो गया बेटा difference between simple interest, compound interest and the time period that is required to double an investment. Next set of question. अगर machinery पे आता है बेटा, will you take it to be Simple interest, or will you take it to be compound interest? Normally, beta, they should use the word written down value or reducing balance method. We will be learning this in accounts later. There is straight line method, guys, and then there is written down value. Straight line method अगर compute कर रहे हैं बेटा, then it is simple interest. मतलब the amount of depreciation is always computed on original principal. Otherwise, guys, if it is on reducing balance, that is written down value method, then it is under compound interest. The only change that is required in the formula is what, beta? If depreciation, लिखो guys, ये हो गया 36 years तक. If depreciation beta is on reducing balance, then what is the relation beta? You write accumulated balance normally is equal to P into 1 plus R percentage whole power N. But यहाँ पे क्या लिखोगे बेटा? Scrap value or residual value will be equal to original cost into 1 minus क्या बेटा? Depreciation rate whole power N. Scrap value will be equal to original cost into 1 minus depreciation rate whole power N. Just as an example, beta, if scrap value is equal to 1000 and original cost is equal to 10,000 and depreciation rate, beta, say for example is 12% written down value basis, how will you get number of years? समझ में आ रहा है क्या बोल रहा हूँ? You will write 1000 beta is equal to 10,000 into 1 minus 0.12 whole power n. 1000 divided by 10,000 कितना हो जाएगा? 0.1. 0.1 is equal to 0.88 whole power n. You know how to do this? You will have to check on calculator beta at what point is it giving us 0.1. 0.88 whole power what beta is closer to that? Square, cube, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Whole power 18 beta is 0.100158. Whole power 19 is 0.0881395. Now we know beta that the answer is approximately how many years? Approximately 18 years. Yes or no? If you want accurate answer, क्या करोगे? Timeline. For accurate answer, beta, proportionate calculation. The actual wording for that is linear interpolation. ज़रूरत नहीं है. Proportionate calculation. I'm not doing that here, but I'm just telling you. Approximately it is 18 years. If you would want the accurate answer, you will have to do it on a proportionate basis. You have to count the number of times you're pressing equal to. When you press equal to for the first time, it is square of the number. If they give us number of years, then the question becomes very easy because you just have to compute scrap value. या तो scrap value देंगे बेटा and ask you to find out the number of years, or they will give us number of years, ask you to find out the scrap value. Did you write this? Approximately the value of n is 18 years. For accurate answer, guys, you're supposed to do proportionate calculation. Timeline. In 1 year, what is the difference and what is the difference that you want? Next, better. Another example, guys. Birth rate or death rate wala question, guys. Will that be simple interest or will that be compound interest? Compound interest. Whenever they give beta increase in population, it is always as a percentage of the population at the beginning of the year. So it will always be a case of compound interest. It will not be a case of simple interest. Anyways, beta, next example. This is only for simple interest, guys. If I give you accumulated balance beta say in 5 years and I tell you that the accumulated balance is 10,000 rupees and accumulated balance if I tell you beta in 6 years is 11,000. What do you understand from this? अगर ऐसा question देता है guys, the difference between these two guys will immediately become interest for 1 year. I can do this beta only under simple interest. Are we clear? Under compound interest, guys, the difference will be interest, but interest only for the 6th year. Interest for first year, second year, third year, fourth year will not remain at. Are we clear about this? So this is interest for 1 year, guys, 1000. If they ask you to compute the amount of principal, what will you write, guys? Your accumulated balance in 5 years comprises of two portions. What is that? Interest for 5 years. How much will that become, beta? 1000 into 5, 5000. बचा हुआ क्या हो जाएगा, guys? Principal balance, and that beta will be 5000. The difference beta will become 5000. If they ask us to compute interest rate, guys, can I write 1000 divided by 5000? Every year I'm getting 1000 interest on a principal of 5000. Therefore my interest rate will be 0.2, that is 20%. Any doubt in this? They're giving us accumulated balance in 5 years, accumulated balance in 6 years. Dipanj, once I'm done with all of this, बेटो थोड़े notebooks check करना है randomly. ये पूरा explanation है नहीं है, उनके books में देख के बोल. Are we all clear about this, kids? Next, बेटा. हाँ, ये हो गया बेटा all the concepts based on simple interest and compound interest. After this, guys, we moved on to the concept of annuity. What do you understand by annuity, guys? Two conditions, guys. The cash flow should remain constant, guys, and the time gap between two cash flows also should remain constant. It can be yearly cash flows, it can be quarterly cash flows, it can be monthly cash flows. Doesn't make a difference. As long as the cash flow remains constant, as long as the time gap between two cash flows remain constant, it will be a case of annuity. So those are the two conditions that you should remember, beta. Cash flow is constant, CF matlab, and the other one, beta, is time gap is constant. We did two types of annuities, beta. What are those? Annuity regular and annuity due or immediate. By default, is it annuity regular or is it annuity due or immediate? Annuity regular. Annuity regular का मतलब क्या है? Cash flows will arise at the end of each period. What is annuity due or immediate, beta? Cash flows will arise at the beginning of each period. How will you identify whether it's a case of annuity immediate or annuity due, guys? If they use the word starting now or commencing now, beta, it means that it is annuity immediate or due. If nothing is given, it is always annuity regular. Cash flows, CF matlab cash flows. Smart beta. Who asked? Tu puchi beta. Cash flows will arise at the beginning of each period. Time value of money हो गया, इनको CF cap नहीं पता. For this, beta, the wordings are starting today, commencing now. This is what they will give. Annuity regular, beta, default लिख रहा हूँ. Default का मतलब क्या होगा? If nothing is given, it is always a case of annuity regular. Clear, kids? Cash flow is constant, time gap is constant. What will be the examples of annuity, guys? I gave you the classic example of loan, guys. That if in case you're paying EMIs every month, the साथ बट्टा, will the cash flow remain same? Yes. EMI का मतलब ये होता है cash flow is constant. Equated monthly installment. Because the cash flow is same and the time gap is constant, guys, it will be a case of annuity. Next, the two formulas that we have learned, guys, for both the annuities. One is present value, the other one is accumulated balance or future value. How do you compute present value, guys? Present value of annuity regular कैसे करोगे बेटा? Annuity amount multiplied by PVAF at R% for n periods. Present value annuity factor compute करने के लिए you will have to understand what is present value factor first. Use GT in your calculator to arrive at that present value annuity factor. How will you compute present value of annuity immediate, guys? One plus R multiplied by present value of annuity regular. How do you compute accumulated balance or future value, guys, of annuity regular? How do you compute future value, guys? Annuity amount into 1 plus r percentage whole power n minus 1 divided by r percentage. This is how you compute accumulated balance or future value of annuity regular. How will you compute accumulated balance, guys, or future value of annuity immediate? 1 plus r multiplied by future value of annuity regular. लिख लिए बेटा सब? तेरी कॉपिंग स्पीड अच्छी है बेटा, काम में आएगा एग्जाम में. Loan, guys, will always be an example of. Loan is always a case of present value. But once you see that there is a borrowing, guys, also check whether repayment is at once or repayment is in installments. If repayment is at once, will you use the formula of annuity or single cash flow? Do not forget to identify that. If repayment is at once, then you use the formula accumulated balance is equal to P into 1 plus R whole power n. What if repayment is over periods, guys? Repayment and installments. Then you will use the formula of present value of annuity. यहाँ पे present value of annuity क्या बन जाएगा बेटा तुम्हारा? Loan amount. Annuity will become installment amount. Loan is always a case of present value, guys. Loan के questions में बेटा they might also give us down payment. If down payment is given बेटा, what is the relation? Cash price of any asset as such बेटा will be equal to down payment plus loan amount. Not necessary that they give only loan, they can also give down payment. So if you are buying an asset whose cash price is 10 lakhs and down payment is 3 lakhs, what will be the loan amount? 7 lakhs. You use that 7 lakh rupees to arrive at the amount of installments. PV of annuity को loan बोल के लिखना बेटा. A will become a case of installment. A is annuity amount. If A is used along with P, then A is not annuity. A will become accumulated balance. अगर question में A और P दे रहा है बेटा, then P is principal. A will become accumulated balance. It will not be a case of annuity. Did we write this? Loan is always a case of present value. Sinking fund क्या रहेगा बेटा? नहीं हुआ ये. Sinking fund बेटा will always be a case of accumulated balance, future value. Sinking fund का मतलब क्या होगा बेटा? Amount is set aside every year to meet an obligation on a later date. Yes or no? Amount is set aside every year to meet an obligation. इसका example क्या रहेंगे बेटा? They have given us, guys, that you would want to redeem debentures, you would want to redeem preference shares, or you would want to provide for replacement of a machine. These are the three examples that we have seen. Redeem debentures, redeem preference shares, or replace machine. Replace machine. Sinking fund, always a case of future value. You're setting aside amount every year to meet an obligation. Guys, ऊपर present value में बेटा ये भी लिखना. Pension, always a case of present value. Do you remember pension? Additional question bank में question था बेटा. How much amount do you need to provide? वो भी लिख लेना brackets में ऊपर. Pension is always a case of present value. You can write above beta brackets में pension is also a case of present value. Now you can write this. Sinking fund, always a case of future value. Next guys, example. Cash price of car is 15 lakhs. Down payment is 3 lakhs. Balance amount to be paid. Balance amount to be paid over 7 years. Rate of interest is 12% per annum. Compute annual installment. Cash price is 15 lakhs. Down payment is 3 lakhs. The remaining amount you're going to pay over a span of 7 years. Rate of interest is 12% per annum. You're supposed to arrive at the amount of annual installment. Which formula are we going to use guys here? अब भी लिखाया ऊपर फिर भी याद नहीं रहता. You're going to use present value guys of annuity because the amount is not to be repaid at once. The amount is to be repaid over multiple years, 7 years. That is why it will be a case of annuity. This is a case of annuity guys. लेकिन loan amount कितना है? Is it 15 lakhs or is it 12 lakhs? Loan amount is only 12 lakhs. 12 lakhs will be the present value of annuity. It is not 15 lakhs, it is 12 lakhs, which is the present value of annuity. So out of 15 lakhs, beta, down payment is 3 lakhs. Loan amount, beta, is 12 lakhs. You will write 12 lakhs, beta, which is present value of annuity. You will equate this to installment amount, which is annuity amount, multiply by PVAF. PVAF at what rate guys? 12% for 7 years. How do you compute PVAF? 1.12 divided by twice equal to 7 times and then grand total. 4.375. So using this beta you're going to get the amount of installment. 12 lakhs divided by this. कितना हो जाएगा बेटा? 2 lakhs 62,109.41. You will have to pay an installment of 2,62,941 every year to clear a loan of 12 lakh rupees. Annuity factor is 4.56375. क्या नहीं आया आंसर? एन्युटी फैक्टर ही नहीं आया. अभी क्लियर किड्स? नेक्स्ट एग्जाम्पल बेटा. फैमिली मैन आया बेटा? देखो तेरी एक्सटेंडेड फैमिली है ना बेटा क्लास में. Are we all done with this kids? Any doubt kids? Next beta. The next example guys is on accumulated balance of annuity. Existing machine has a life of 10 years. Residual value 50,000. Replacement is expected to cost. Replacement is expected to cost 10 lakh rupees. Interest on investments is 8%. Compute amount to be set aside every year. Compute amount to be set aside every year. Basically, you're creating a sinking fund for replacement of the machine. 10 years के बाद में बेटा, how much money do you need? 10 lakhs. But then, will there be any proceeds that you will get from the existing one? 50,000. That means the net amount that you will be needing after 10 years is only 9,50,000. Please do not equate 10 lakhs to accumulated balance. Equate 9,50,000. Existing machine is anyways going to give you an amount of 50,000 rupees. So you take that 50,000 beta, deduct from 10 lakhs. The balance amount will be 9,50,000. Funds required after 10 years beta will be equal to 10 lakhs minus 50,000. That will be 9,50,000. You will have to equate it to the formula of annuity guys to arrive at the amount to be set aside every year. समझ में आ रहा है? आ गया बेटा आंसर? Your accumulated balance is equal to your annuity amount into 1 plus r percentage whole power n minus 1 by r percent. 9,50,000 will be equal to your annuity amount into rate of interest is 8%, 10 years minus 1 divided by 0.08. $65,578. You will have to set aside 65,578 rupees. 678, 578. 578. 65,578 rupees every year in order to accumulate 9,50,000 rupees after 10 years. This is the case of accumulated balance. Same question guys, if I use the word how much should you set aside every year commencing now? This will become a case of annuity immediate. Are we clear? In that case, beta, you just have to multiply by 1 plus r. Yes, 65,578 divided by 1.08 will be the final answer. You will have to deposit less every year because you're going to get more interest. Repeat beta, same question. If I use the word starting now after the word every year, then it will become a case of annuity immediate. You will write the same formula and then write into 1 plus r. Are we clear about this guys? Next beta. We moved on to the applications of annuity guys. Though I did that in the end. अभी यहाँ पे लिखा रहा हूँ. ये सब समझ में आ गया? This is annuity. Whenever a question comes in the examination, always check whether it's a case of single cash flow or a case of annuity. Without that, you're not going to solve. Now comes beta applications of annuity. Applications of annuity में beta first one was sinking fund, loan. ये already हो चुका है. We did the concept of loan, which is always present value of annuity. Then we did the formula of sinking fund, which is always accumulated balance or future value of annuity. Leasing के लिए बेटा, do you remember leasing? There were two questions that we did guys. One was from the viewpoint of owner, that is lessor. The other was from the viewpoint of lessee, that is the one who's using the asset. तो इसमें बेटा case one मैं example नहीं लिखा रहा हूँ, बस बोल रहा हूँ, but this case one is very important. From the viewpoint of owner guys, lessor, क्या करना चाहिए guys? They will tell us better that you want to buy an asset for a specific amount and then give it on lease. Whether it is favorable or not, how will you decide? if the present value of benefits exceeds क्या बेटा cost of asset, then it becomes favorable. You are paying something today and you're going to get favorable है बेटा, वो last word समझ में नहीं आया तो present value of benefits मतलब बेटा present value of lease rentals. I'm buying the asset today, I'll be leasing it out. So if the present value of benefits is exceeding the cost of the asset beta, then it will become favorable to us. Are we clear? Do you remember the question beta? We purchased it at 3,60,000 and then we gave it on lease, some 1,05,000 or something. We computed the present value and we compared it with 3,60,000. If it is more than 3,60,000, it is beneficial. If it is less than 3,60,000, it is not beneficial. दूसरा केस क्या था बेटा? From the viewpoint of lessee. Lessee matlab beta the one who's using the asset, the user of asset. He will have two options, guys. What are the two options that a lessee will have? Ek second sun lo beta. What are the two options that the lessee will have? Either purchase the asset or take the asset under lease. So in both the cases beta there is outflow. Option 1 beta is buy the asset. Isn't this outflow? Option 2 beta is take the asset on lease. But option 2 में क्या होगा बेटा? The outflow will not be immediate. The outflow will be on a later date. इसीलिए क्या compute करना है? Compute present value of lease. This also is outflow. Lease payments. Final decision क्या होगा? Select option with a lower outflow. Yes or no? Option 1 कर देता हूँ. Select option guys with a lower outflow. Are we clear? Right better. Case 1 हो गया सबका? Case 1 is from the viewpoint of lessor beta, that is owner, wherein we will be computing present value of benefits and comparing it with the cost of asset. क्या हो बेटा applied math? Viewpoint of lessor. The second one is lessee, user of the asset, the one who's taking the asset on lease. Clear guys? Online students, Sai Charan Karunya, I hope you're all doing it. From the viewpoint of lessee guys, you're going to select the alternative with a lower outflow. Next beta, इसके बाद में क्या थे बेटा? Applications of annuity. Do you remember the question of machinery? We are buying a machinery today. It will help us save some amount every year. How will you decide whether the machinery should be purchased or not? The present value of savings guys, if it exceeds the cost of the asset, machine should be purchased. If it does not exceed the cost of the machine, do not purchase the asset. Just like leasing from the viewpoint of owner. Yes? ये हो गया बेटा सबका case 1, case 2. क्या बताना है? You were absent on Friday, right? You're not well? At least you have a reason of not well. Last week एक बंदा Thursday को absent था and his reason was I was bored of coming to class every day. क्या सूरज? Your friend no? The person sitting next to you, wasn't he tired and bored? You told me no. He doesn't feel like coming today. Well, don't lie beta. Yes guys, next beta is fourth. Investment decision बोलते हैं बेटा इसको. That is brackets में लिखना purchase of machinery. Purchase of machinery. For investment decision guys, compare what? Cost of asset with present value of savings. If present value of savings is greater than cost of the asset, what are we going to do? Buy the asset. Fourth one beta was investment. Fourth ही था ना ये? हाँ. Investment decision, that is purchase of machinery. You're going to buy a machinery, guys, if and only if the present value of savings exceeds the cost of the asset. It can be direct savings, indirect savings, does not matter. Just compute the present value of savings, compare it with the cost of the asset. The last application of annuity that we did beta after this was valuation of bond. I told you not that important, but still. Do you remember valuation of bond? Yes or no? How do you value a bond, guys? I said not just bond beta, any other security. How will you value? Value is nothing but maximum price that you are willing to pay. Maximum price that you are willing to pay कैसे compute करोगे? Present value of all the future cash inflows. Remember, value beta is always equal to maximum price that can be paid. Maximum price that can be paid beta will be equal to the present value of all future cash inflows. Bond के case में बेटा, you will get interest and you will get principal. So you will take interest for year 1 divided by 1 plus r, interest of second year divided by 1 plus r whole square, so on. Interest for nth year plus p क्या है? Principal amount 1 plus r whole power n. यहाँ पे r बेटा is interest rate on bond or is it required rate of return? Required rate of return. R beta is required rate of return. This is computing present value of all the future cash inflows beta. Valuation of bond. Next, guys, were there any other concepts? Perpetuity, guys. After that, NPV, compounded annual growth rate, and nominal rate and real return. हो गया बेटा ये? R is your required rate of return, guys. Next बेटा, perpetuity. Perpetuity का मतलब क्या है, guys? This is considered as a special case of annuity, guys. क्या special case? So here, guys, there is no defined end point. No defined end point, but basically cash flows will arise forever. The two types of perpetuity beta that you did in class. One is constant perpetuity. The other one is constant growth perpetuity. Constant perpetuity का मतलब क्या होता है बेटा? Constant perpetuity is where the cash flows remain constant every year. Cash flow remain constant. If the cash flow remain constant, guys, how will you compute the present value? Cash flow divided by R%. This is how you will arrive at present value of a constant perpetuity. What is a constant growth perpetuity? Cash flows increase at a constant rate. Krishna, formula क्या है? Cash flow of year 1 लिखना सीखो बेटा. हाँ. CF1 divided by R% minus G%. Cash flows increase at a constant rate. ICI के हिसाब से बेटा constant growth perpetuity is also known as growing perpetuity. The formula for present value beta will be CF1 divided by R% minus G%. There's no formula for accumulated balances of perpetuity. We only have formulas for present value of perpetuity. Cash flow by R%, CF1 by R% minus G%. If at all cash flows do not arise from year 1, guys, and they arise from a subsequent date, and you use the formula, guys, will you get present value at the end of year 0, or will you get present value as on a later date? Later date. Remember we did these cases? I told you a case beta where perpetuity was arising from year 6, not from year 1. So if you use the formula of present value of perpetuity, guys, you will get present value of perpetuity as at the end of year 5. एक बार वो आ गया बेटा, फिर कैसे करोगे? Compute present value of that year 5 value again. That can be applied to annuity, that can be applied to anything else. Are we clear? When we use a formula of present value of annuity or present value of perpetuity, guys, present value or cash flow के बीच में there's only 1 year time gap. You cannot have more than 1 year. जैसे if cash flow start from year 5, you are computing present value at the end of year 4. If cash flow start from year 3, you are computing present value at the end of year 2. Once you get that present value, you're supposed to again use single cash flow ka formula and arrive at present value. There were 3-4 examples given on that, but in the material, the way you're looking at me, you're like, God alone knows, sir, what are you talking about? नहीं समझ में आ गया ना? एग्जाम्पल गाइस, इसके ऊपर लिखो पहले एक बार, परपेचुटी का एग्जाम्पल. Equity share, dividend of 50 rupees every year. Dividend of 50 rupees beta every year. Required rate of return is 10%. Compute present value. Equity share है बेटा. Will that be a perpetual instrument? Yes. Equity share does not have any defined endpoint. यहाँ पे if you buy this equity share, guys, are you going to get 50 rupees every year? You are going to receive 50 rupees every year for an indefinite period of time. So will this be a case of perpetuity? Yes. How will you compute the present value of constant perpetuity? Cash flow divided by rate of interest. Every year कितना cash flow मिलने वाला है? 50 rupees. So to receive 50 rupees at a required rate of return of 10%, how much are you willing to pay? 500 rupees. To receive 50 rupees every year, beta, at a required return of 10%, it will be 500. Are we clear? Next example, guys. Again, equity share. Expected dividend in year 1, 50 rupees. Year 1 matlab next year. You're going to get a dividend of 50 rupees. Your required return, guys, is 12%. While growth rate beta is 8%. When I say growth rate is 8%, that means dividends are expected to grow at the rate of 8% year after year. Compute present value. What is the formula that we are going to write? Because there is growth rate, but I will write CF1 divided by R% minus G%. That will be 50 rupees divided by 12% minus 8%. 50 by 4% better. 25 times 1250. ₹50 divided by 4%. The total present value beta is 1250 rupees. This is if it is a case of constant growth perpetuity. Last example beta और एक हो गया बेटा ये. Expected dividend in year 1 50 rupees. Required return 12%. Growth rate 8%. हो गया जिन्हें नहीं ये नहीं बेटा जो कर रहा है वो हो गया क्या. नेक्स्ट एग्जाम्पल बेटा. A perpetuity will result in a cash flow of a perpetuity will result in a cash flow of 70 rupees. Cash flow of 70 rupees in year 7. In year 7. Thereafter, it will increase at a rate of it will increase at a rate of 8%. Without yawning, compute present value if required return is equal to 15%. यहाँ पे बेटा cash flow is not arising from year 1. Cash flow is arising from year thereafter. It will increase at a rate of 8%. A perpetuity will result in a cash flow of 70 rupees in year 7. Thereafter, it will increase at a rate of 8%. Compute present value if required rate of return is 15%. तू बेटा corner में pillar के बाजू या brown ते पीछे हाँ. Yes, you answer this better. Tell me how to compute present value. I've done 4 cases on this beta in the class already. I'm not giving you any new question. How will I compute the present value here? Perfect beta. Tell me how will you compute present value at the end of year 6? Present value at the end of year 6 कैसे करोगे? Guys, we just use the formula beta. It is CF1 divided by R% minus G%. So what will I write beta? 70 rupees divided by 15% minus 8%. कितना है बेटा ये? 70 divided by 7%, 1000 rupees. Huh? This is value beta at the end of year 6. आज का present value कैसे compute करोगे? Present value beta as on current date. Shouldn't I discount this also or compute present value of this also for 6 more years? How will I do that? 1000 divided by 1.15 whole power 6. 1000 rupees is the value as at the end of year 6. You're supposed to discount it for 6 more years and arrive at the present value. 1000 divided by 1.15 whole power 6. 432.32 guys will be the present value. As on current date. Present value as on the current date, that is today beta, will be 1000 divided by 1.15 whole power 6. So basically you deposit for 32.32. In a span of 6 years, it will become 1000. After that beta, you divide that by 1.15 whole power 6. Are we done guys? The next concept beta is net present value, NPV. What is net present value beta? What's the formula that we have learned? Present value of cash inflows beta. Price itself is your investment. But yeah, NPV is nothing but beta the value that you receive minus the price that you pay, which is written as present value of cash inflows minus price matlab investment, or you can also write that as present value of cash outflows. What will be the decision making criteria guys? If NPV is greater than 0, you accept the proposal. I told you if NPV is positive, that means you're generating an additional wealth. Tomorrow actual return guys will be greater than required rate of return also. If NPV is negative, what does that mean? Your actual return is less than the required rate of return. That is why you reject the proposal. If NPV is 0 beta, what will you do? Still accept, because your actual return is exactly equal to required rate of return. Whatever you were expecting guys, your actual return is equal to that amount. That is why guys you're going to accept the proposal. लिखे बेटा ये. Write an example based on that guys. Investment required is 1 lakh. Value minus price a better formula. After that, you're going to write present value of cash inflows minus the amount of investment. Last bench Shubham. नहीं सुन रहे? Present value of cash inflows minus the amount of investment, guys. NPV is positive, you accept the proposal. NPV is negative, you reject the proposal. It is 0, you accept. Investment required beta is 1 lakh. Cash flow in year 1 is 80,000. Cash flow in year 2 is say 20,000. Cash flow in year 3 beta is 20,000. Compute NPV. If required rate of return, guys, is equal to 11%. Required rate of return beta is 11%. Compute NPV. Net present value. You will have to compute the present value of all the cash inflows. Compare that with the amount of initial investment. If the NPV is positive, guys, you know what will be the decision. Anushka, what's the answer beta? Let her answer first. Others, if you got the answer, better stay quiet for a minute. निश्चय हो गया. प्रेजेंट वैल्यू कंप्यूट कर बेटा इंडिविजुअली तीनों का, फिर ऐड करना है. फॉर्मूला यूज नहीं कर सकता एन्युटी. गाइस, इफ द कैश फ्लोज आर नॉट कांस्टेंट, गाइस, यू कैन नॉट यूज प्रेजेंट वैल्यू ऑफ एन्युटी, यू कैन नॉट यूज प्रेजेंट वैल्यू ऑफ परपेचुटी हियर. दिस इज नॉट परपेचुटी, दिस इज नॉट एन्युटी. You will have to arrive at the present value of each cash flow separately. 80,000 का present value separately, both the 20,000's present value separately. It's easier to compute present values. Applied. आ गया बेटा. तू क्यों रुकी यार? तू सॉल्व करना. Compute the present value बेटा. हो गया? अनुष्का आया आंसर? या सामने वाले को आ रहा है? यार एनपीवी पे तो बहुत सारे एग्जाम्पल्स भी किया था ना क्लास में. शुभम डन. How many for done with the calculation, guys? फैमिली मैन कितना है? पॉजिटिव, नेगेटिव. The present value of cash inflows, beta, first 80,000 ka you're going to write 80,000 divided by 1.11. Second 20,000, beta, you're going to write 20,000 divided by 1.11 whole square. Third 20,000, beta, you're going to write 20,000 divided by 1.11 whole cube. This is how you will compute present value of each of these cash flows. कितना हो जाएगा बेटा? Sum total 1,02,928. You know that your investment amount beta was 1 lakh. Because the present value is greater than the amount of investment, your NPV is positive, and that will be equal to 2,928 rupees. The present value of all of these cash flows beta is 1,02,928. You compare that with the amount of initial investment and write the amount of NPV. Because NPV is positive, your conclusion will be to accept the proposal. Are we all done, kids? Kids and the ones who have kids. Huh? Next, beta, this was the example on NPV, guys. The next concept that we did, beta, was compounded annual growth rate, CAGR. Yaad hai? What is compounded annual growth rate, beta? Are you all done with this NPV computation? NPV is 2928. The next one beta here is compounded annual growth rate. Tanay, what is the meaning of the word CAGR beta? Perfect. Effective return generated over a specified period. Over a specified period. How do we compute, guys? Formula kya hai? Use the same formula, guys, of compound interest. You will write accumulated balance is equal to P into 1 plus R percent whole power n. Just that this R will be replaced with CAGR. This R beta will become your CAGR. So if there are 5 values given beta, example guys, let us start with price given beta in 2020, price of 2021, 2022, price of 2023 and price of 2024. 1000, 1150, 1120, 1500, 2100. Can you compute CAGR using this? 1000 rupees beta, increasing to 1150, decreasing to 1120, increasing back to 1500, increasing again to 2100. You're required to arrive at the amount of CAGR, compounded annual growth rate. Will you take whole power 5 or will you take whole power 4? Perfect, guys. Time gap is only 4 years, though there are 5 values given. You will now write, guys, 2100 is equal to principal amount is 1000. Interim values are not relevant, guys. Whether they're given or not given, we will not care about them. 1 plus R percent whole power 4. 1000 को ये तरफ लेके आओ बेटा, you will get 2.1 is equal to 1 plus R percent whole power 4. Press square root twice beta. You will get the value of 1 plus R percent. मेरे को पहले वो पूरा वैल्यू बोलो. 1.20338. Therefore R percent beta is 0.2038, which means it is 20.38%. Your compounded annual growth rate beta is going to be 20.38%. Your investment has effectively given you a return of 20.38%. This was CAGR. One last concept in the entire chapter beta, and that is nominal return and real return. The interest rates that prevail in the market beta are nominal return or real return? Nominal return. If you remove the impact of inflation, guys, from those interest rates, you will be arriving at real return. Are we clear? What is important is that you make a real positive return so that your purchasing power increases year after year. If the real returns are negative, then what will happen? Purchasing power of individuals will decrease year after year. They will not be able to buy the same amount of quantities, but same amount of goods every year. Are we clear about this? Next, beta, write down nominal and real return. Real return beta is excess return generated over inflation rate. Excess return generated over inflation rate. Purchasing power will increase if and only if real return is positive. Purchasing power will increase only if real returns are positive. The interest rates prevailing in the market are always nominal rates. The relation beta is nominal rate is equal to real rate plus inflation rate. Is this the actual relation? The actual relation beta is 1 plus nominal rate is equal to 1 plus real rate into 1 plus inflation rate. अभी के लिए इतना बस है. Nominal is equal to real plus inflation. Example, guys. Interest on SBI fixed deposit is 8%. Will this be real return or will this be nominal return? Very good, beta. This will always be nominal return. Inflation rate is 5.5%. What will be your real return, guys? Your real rate beta will be equal to 2.5%. Interest on fixed deposit, guys, is 8%. Inflation rate is 5.5%. Real rate is question mark. That 8% is equal to 5.5 beta plus real return. So your real return is equal to 2.5%. Any doubt in this, kids? So this was the entire revision of time value of money. Beta, you have all the notes at one place. Do revise it properly whenever you have time. Are we clear? This majorly covers all the concepts. But guys, even after you do all the concepts, you still have to practice MCQs. सिर्फ concepts करने से answers नहीं आ जाएंगे. You should know how to apply them, and you will get the speed in the exam will automatically increase by solving more number of MCQs and keeping calm in the examination. Okay. Yes, sir. Previous exam guys, a couple of them were telling me that in sitting here, they were able to solve only 15, 16 questions. In a time gap of what, 50, 55 minutes. Same question paper, घर पे पूरा paper करने के लिए, they took only 22 minutes. So, your mental peace is more important, beta. When you're writing an examination, please fool your brain that you're not doing anything great. Are we clear? It's just a routine activity that is being performed. Okay, guys.